Street Fighter 6 is going to get 10 seasons in total. So that means we have 6 more seasons left. So you know what that means? Street Fighter 6's roster will probably lead up to more than likely 50 plus characters, which will be the largest roster in Street Fighter history. And today I want to talk about what characters I think will potentially make it in this roster. Now, I do think there's 2 paths they can go for characters, or at least the amount of characters they're going to add. Now, with the Season 5 coming up next year, and that's going to be the 40th anniversary for Street Fighter, I think they're going to do something a bit different with the DLC characters, which I think they could potentially add, instead of doing just 4 DLC characters, I think they might do 5 DLC characters instead, which would change the dynamic of how DLC characters come out altogether. And that is the biggest complaint for DLC, is that they're spaced out way too far from each other, and adding one other character probably could fix that solution altogether. If they do that just from that season and onward, we would technically get a total of, I believe, 64 characters in Street Fighter 6. Now, if they don't do this and they just stick with 4 characters for every season, it will be, I believe, 24 characters in total that we'll get. So that will lead to 58 characters of Street Fighter 6. So either way, it's going to be in the 50s or 60s of characters that we are going to get. There is a third option they technically could do as well, which would be adding a mixture of 5 to 4, and in that case it would still round up to be more than likely 60 if they do at least 2 5s. It'll be beyond that, so that'll be a huge roster regardless of anything. But now let's talk about the characters that I think will potentially make it in Street Fighter 6 DLC. So starting off with new characters, like new slots for characters that can be a guest character or just a brand new character altogether. Now, technically in the total right now of the new characters we have, counting the DLC characters that are not even out right now, we have a total of 13 characters. Street Fighter 5, I believe, had 16. Street Fighter 4 had, I want to say, 11. And Street Fighter 3 had 16. So, them adding new characters as DLC or an expansion, that's just a normal thing even in older games, because they'll have like an entire roster of new characters, or just like the DLC will have new characters. It can be a mixture of all new or some that are old and new. So, I think they're going to continue this, and we're going to get even more newer characters, because right now we have 13 in the game, and last game had 16, so I think they're going to increase that number by a little bit at least. So my guess is that they're going to add at least 5 more new characters. Some are going to be just brand new from Street Fighter, or maybe Final Fight or whatever, because there's Metro City in the game, or potentially we're going to get some new guest characters or crossover characters from either Capcom titles or other fighting game titles. Now, I necessarily can't predict who I would think they would add for a guest character. The only thoughts I would have are leaning more towards like Jin from Tekken possibly, or Kazuya. Or maybe if they're going for SNK, give some King of Fighters some love and show some Kyo maybe. Or maybe even for like another Capcom title, they could do like a Darkstalkers character like Dimitri or Morgan, something like that. Any of those characters would be cool too, because, you know, Tifa's in the game, so technically anybody else could be added too if we're doing stuff like that. So one of those types of characters I think could potentially be there. Original characters, I technically have no idea. They could do some characters from World Tour, but I feel as if we already have Bosch that kind of fits the bill for World Tour, so you don't really need anybody there. You could do alternate versions of characters, like a Psycho Craze Bosch version, because that did happen to him in the story mode, or maybe even the theory I had for Ed would be like he'll have like a super Psycho version of him or something like that. I don't think Evil Rio will return, and that would be old, so it's kind of hard for me to say who I would think would be like showing up for new character slots, but I do know we're going to get at least 5 at the bare minimum, 5 more, and if that is the case, it'll be a total of 18 new characters for Street Fighter 6, which I think is a healthy number of new characters, and I don't think people would complain about that much, because it's only just 5 more, and the rest of like the 20-ish characters we have left to choose from are going to be old, so that just works out really, really well. Now, for old characters, there's 3 characters that I think that are guarantees that are going to make it in Street Fighter 6. Now, regardless of how you feel about it, I think these guys are going to make it. And the characters being Gil from Street Fighter 3, Seth from Street Fighter 4, and for 5, I think it's going to be Nikali. Now, why am I saying this? Because I think they're going to want to add every villain, like a main villain for every Street Fighter game in one game. That's what they did for 5, and it was like a cool thing. Like, we got all the bad guys in one package deal, like the main important dudes. Now, why Nikali for 5? Because technically Bison would be the main villain of 2, and I feel as if they would want to kind of go with that direction of Nikali being the villain of 5, because he kind of was stalking a lot of the characters, trying to interrupt them. Was he successful? No. But I feel as if the cool thing about Street Fighter 6 is they like making characters even cooler, because Ed, for example, a lot of people didn't think he was cool in 5, but in 6, a lot of people love the guy now. So I feel as if they're going to do the same for Nikali, because there's so many ways to make him scary, creepy, and cool, but they just didn't incorporate it in 5. So this is their chance to rework that character, because he has a cool concept overall. He's an emissary of the gods, so that in itself sounds freaking sick. So I think they're going to add him potentially back, and Gil just makes the most sense, and Seth makes the most sense because the boss is their game. So I feel as if they're going to be in the game, just in general. Now, the next characters that I think they're going to be added that are old characters are going to be 4 characters slots that I have in mind here, and they're going to be for Shotos. Now, these characters are going to fit in a very peculiar way. They're not going to all show up in this one season. They're going to be in different seasons to make it fair, because everybody doesn't want a Shoto season. Everybody likes, different characters, playstyles, and whatever. So, the characters I'm thinking of are going to be Sakura from Street Fighter Alpha, Sean from Street Fighter 3, and for Street Fighter 4, it's Gouken. And for Street Fighter 2, it is actually Violent Ken. Now, the reason why I think Sakura, I'm going to start off with Sakura. I know you guys are curious about Violent Ken. We're going to start off with Sakura. Sakura, I think she should be returning. She's going to be not a schoolgirl, because that's kind of already done. I think they're going to do that more focused with the newest character, Yasmin. Sakura is going to be kind of a different approach that we've never seen her before. And it'll be cool to have her back and actually in a funner playstyle, because in Street Fighter 5, her playstyle wasn't really the best. Like, she was the most requested character to make it in 5, but no one used her because she kind of looked weird, and her gameplay style was not the best. So I think they're going to revamp her style and make her fun. Now, Sean, this is his time, because this is the next generation of fighters. Basically, you have Luke, Ed, characters like that, like Lily, Manon, Marissa. This is their game. This is for them. So it's time for him to show up and put in that work and actually see him do some cool stuff. So I think he's a perfect fit for Shoto. Now, Gouken is a good fit too. He is a good representative for 4, and I think he doesn't really get that much love, so this is the chance to really give him more love, and it would be cool to actually see with him Akuma, because guess what? He is alive. Gouken is not dead. The director of Street Fighter 6, Takayuki Nakayama, said he is alive. He's just deep in the mountains, rejoicing in the growth of his 2 apprentices, Ryu and Ken. So he's alive. They can add him in the game. I don't think anybody would complain about it too much for them to add him, because like, oh, what if you can? No, there's not really many Shotos we have here unless you want Evil Ryu, but that's not ever going to happen, or Kage. So I don't think we're gonna get that, and we need a representative from Street Fighter 4, and he makes the most sense to me. Now, Violent Ken. Why would we get Violent Ken? Isn't he technically not even a canon character, or per se even just like a crossover character with SNK versus Capcom? Well, he is, but he was in Ultra, or the Champion Edition of Street Fighter 2, I believe. Now, with him, the reason why I think he fits is because he wants to kill JP so bad. So I think we're gonna get like an evil version of Ken. So Violent Ken would fit the bill. Now, would he use Psycho Power? I don't know, but it would fit the story mode and narrative for him, because he does want to actually kill JP, because he stole his wealth and everything, and his kid. So this is the time for us to get like an evil version of Ken. It will be so freaking cool if we got that. So that's the slot I would do for Shotos. Let me know what you guys think about that, but I really do think we could actually potentially see a Violent Ken of some sort. Now, to speed up the process of this video, I kind of want to just tackle each game and just tell you what characters I think they're going to make it, to make this video a bit faster for you guys and to make it a bit more digestible as well. So we're going to start off with Alpha. For Alpha, I do think we will see Cody. That's just a given. I think he's going to come in the game. It makes the most sense. You can literally run around in Metro City. He runs Metro City. We have not seen the person who runs Metro City. So I think we're going to see him at least at the mayor's office or somewhere, beating up some punks or something on the street. It makes the most sense for his character. Why is he not in the game? It doesn't, it doesn't add up. We're in his city. And see, some people say Hagar, but I just feel as if that's not going to be the case here. I think we're actually just going to see Cody, because like he's the kind of replacement of Hagar. That's kind of the whole point of Cody, basically, from 5 at least. So he's definitely going to be a DLC character. Another character that I think they're going to add, which is going to be weird to some people, but it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Saddam will be in this game. Why? Because he was cheated in 5. He was supposed to be in 5, but they actually were kind of torn between him and Birdie, and they chose Birdie over him. So I think this is his time to shine, because he hasn't been in the game in a long time, obviously, because it's been since Alpha. So I think he's going to show up in Street Fighter 6. Another character that I think is going to make it, which is going to be a bit surprising here, is going to actually be Guy. Now, why would you say Guy? Because technically, don't we have Kimberly? Yes, we do. But technically, in a sense, it's been a long time since we've had him, since Street Fighter 4, because we've had people to replace him. Basically, we've had Zeku, we've had Kimberly, why not just have the original OG back in the game, and you can also have Cody and Guy just be back in one game, because it's been a while since they've both been in the game together. So I feel as if that would be a cool little cherry on top type of situation for both of those characters. And for his fighting style of Bushinryu, it's going to be different from Kimberly since he's the master. It's going to be like the polished version of it, like the flawless, if you will. Like, this is all he does. He doesn't do anything extra. This is the peak of it, basically. So I think that would be a cool way to go about that. Now, there was a character that I was going to say that I thought was going to be at it, which they could technically do Nash and say he didn't die, but that would be a bit difficult too, because, for example, Bosch was actually dead in the story mode, but how he came to be for a DLC character is that Ingrid let the Avatar character time travel to save him before he got captured by Juri, so that's why he's alive. So that's kind of like the difference there with that. So I don't think they're going to go back in time and save Nash. They could, but I just don't think that's the case. So unfortunately, I don't think Nash is going to make it. I like him more than Guile, I really do, but I don't think they're going to do that. But I do think they're going to do a female character instead, and what character that comes to mind is actually Armika. I think they're going to bring back Armika yet again, because this is the perfect time to have 3 wrestlers that are really, really cool that everybody likes, which is Zangief, Alex, and Armika. You'll have the 3 of them in one game, and it'll be like a cool thing. And I think it just kind of fits relatively. Like, I know you're saying you could add Rose, you could add Karen, you could add Maki. I don't think you're gonna add the dolls, so I think, but I really do think this is kind of like the chance for them to add just these 3 wrestlers. So that's what I'm thinking they'll do instead of just adding Rose. They might add Rose maybe, but I'm leaning more towards not, because there's another character in particular that I have not talked about yet that I think they're gonna add over Rose. But yeah, that's pretty much for Alpha, which will be 4 slots all in total, which would be Cody, Saddam, Guy, and Armika. Now for Street Fighter 3, I've been wrapping my head around this, because this is going to take a lot of the slots, I feel as if, the most out of anything. And I think we're going to get, besides Sean and Gil, which I think they're going to make, they're going to be 7 more characters in total that we're going to get from them. And I think that's going to be Makoto, Dudley, Urien, Hugo, Remy, Yang, and Yun. I think those are going to be the 7 characters we're going to get in Street Fighter 6. Why all of these characters? Why are there so many characters? Because they fit the most out of any of the games, I feel. So if they add out of any of them, besides Alpha, I want to say, I think they deserve the most to be in this game, because it's the new generation. Now, Makoto, she is the 2nd most requested character, I believe, or 3rd requested character in the voting poll for Street Fighter 5, and then also for Street Fighter 6. I think she was like the top 5. So if she's not in this game, they just don't like Makoto. I really think I just think they don't like Makoto, but I think she will be making it in this game. Dudley, I do think we need a boxer, and he hasn't been in the game since Street Fighter 4, and he just kind of fits the style as well, the aesthetic of this game, so I think he's going to make it. Urien, I feel as if he's going to be in the game because of just how he plays. Like, his play style is very, very interesting. It's not like any other characters, like by far, probably the most interesting fighting style in Street Fighter 3, in my opinion, with the Aegis Reflectors and how it will work with the level 2 system, and just how he would fit in the game. Like, a new variation of the Illuminati fighting style just seems exciting to me. I think he would be a fan favorite for multiple people in the next generation, just of new players altogether. I think everybody would like him to be in this game. Like, he's just someone in Third Strike that I'm like, he's like one of the heavy hitters of like, this game is pretty sick. So I think he's going to be in the game. Hugo, for the wrestling side as well, because you're going to have Alex, you're going to have Armika, because I really think she's going to make it from Alpha. We have Zangief and Hugo. That's kind of like the big 4 of the wrestling group, I feel as if you would say, from Street Fighter, so I think he's going to potentially make it. And the last game he's been in was Street Fighter 4, so it's been quite some time. So I say it's his time. We need a ginormous, huge character, and no one likes Abigail, and I think it would be Hugo. I think people like Hugo more, so I think he would fit. Now, Remy, I feel as if he has the most potential of all the Street Fighter 3 characters to be even cooler than he was in the original game for Street Fighter 3. And the reason being is because he just had the moveset of Guile, but you can actually kind of modify and change it a little bit from how he plays. And I don't think people would mind that. How he mainly fights for like this physical combat is a French kickboxing fighting style. So I think they can lean more towards that, and he can still have projectiles, but they'll just work a little differently. So I think he deserves a shot to be like a cool, popular character, because everybody agrees that his design was cool, because it also reminded them of Iori from SNK, from King of Fighters. So I think he deserves heavily a second chance to just get a cool design, just to be redeemed, to have like a cool fighting style altogether, because I don't think many people would mind that at all. So I think he deserves a spot heavily. Now, for Yin and Yang, self-explanatory. I feel as if these two are also highly requested characters. You already have Jamie. People like Jamie to a certain degree, but it doesn't hit the spot like Yin and Yang did. And the thing is too with them, the reason why I say both of them is because separating one of them is kind of lame. Like for example, Yun was in Alpha, but Yang was not in the game, which was kind of lame. I felt as if most people felt. So just separating them, like this time Yang is in the game and Yun's not. First of all, I think people like Yun a bit better because of like what he does for an install compared to Yang, but even still, just not having both of them in the same game just feels weird to me. And it'd be a cool way to see what they look like now, especially is while you have Jamie, so like they're still there. So I think them being together, very important. You cannot have the double dragon. You can't have the dragons. You not like one in the game, the other one's not. No, you can't do that. Both of them need to be in the game, I feel as if. Now I know what you're saying too as well. Why not Oro? Why not Necro? Because you can make Necro cool, and why not Q? Reason why not Oro, I feel as if he can sit this one out. He just made it in Street Fighter 5. He was pretty fun, but I don't think he'll come back, honestly. Necro, I don't think he'll come back either, because I feel as if his niche is kind of already fitted with Balsam in his way. They could change him in a way too, like I said with Remy, but I feel as if he's kind of a little bit less what people care about, personally in my opinion, but maybe there's some Necro fans, I don't know. And then Q, there's a reason for that. I'll explain it a little bit later. And 12, I just don't think that's the case. And Ibuki, I think will actually is going to be kind of replaced a little bit by Yasmin of how she plays, but I could be wrong potentially with that, but I just don't think Ibuki is going to come back, honestly. Now, talking about Street Fighter 4, I actually think we're only going to get one more character from Street Fighter 4, because I think we're going to get Seth, and I think we're going to get Gouken. And the one that I think will be the most fitting will probably be Poison, genuinely. I think Poison will be the last one you would choose from here. The reason being is that she's really popular, people do like her, she's a really interesting character, and that's pretty much it when it comes to her. She doesn't have like a huge character depth. She is with Hugo, and if Hugo is in the game, it would be like the perfect time to have both of them in the game, which would be kind of like a cool concept. And yeah, I don't think Abel would fit in the game because you already have Manon, which Manon just does his job basically, and she's a lot more liked than him. So it's also kind of like just like a failed protagonist. Rufus just is a 50-50 of people liking him, or not 50, like I want to say like a lot less people don't like him, and like some people do. Same with El Fuerte, and like Hakan is kind of the same, but I think people like him a bit more. So yeah, the Capri, a lot of people did not like her, like a ton of people didn't. I don't think she'll ever come back. Genuinely speaking, like people actually just hated her. Oni, I just don't see that happening ever again. I think they will mention that in like references, like cool arts, like just in the game, but I don't think he'll actually come back. I feel as if Violent Ken is more a highly possibility of him showing up actually. So that kind of just leaves Poison as like the last character really to choose from here, and she kind of just fits like a glove, honestly. Now talking about Street Fighter 5, I think we're going to get 3 more characters from Street Fighter 5. We already have Nikali in the game as well, so that just leaves 3 more in my eyes that I think are going to make it. First one being Manat. She's the replacement of Rose, basically like the new Rose, so I think she's going to fit very, very well. She's very, very loved. People love her animations. A lot of people love her playstyle. I think she is just going to be in the game. If she's not, I will actually be shocked that if she does not make it in Street Fighter 6 generally, because I didn't like her, but I understand why people like her. Her animations, everything looked really, really good. Second character that I think is going to return is actually going to be G, because G, we don't know anything about him, but he is like kind of the replacement of Q, and he's the most mysterious character ever. Like he's heavily in the lore, but we don't know what for. Like he's like a pillar of something that means something, but we don't know what it is yet, and I think they're going to want to explore it even more. So I think G's definitely going to make it in Street Fighter 6. And the last character for the Street Fighter 5 slot that I'm kind of torn about, but I think is going to come back, is actually going to be Falk. I think Falk is going to return because she kind of fits in the story with Ed and what's going on with him, and like his new Neo Shadowloo thing going on. So I think she's going to return. You'll have another character with Psycho Power, another character with a weapon, because in total, with the characters that I mentioned, which would be Lily, Yasmin, and I think Saddam that was going to have his weapon. It'll be a 4th character with being Folk. She'll have a weapon as well, so it kind of fits in the game, I feel as if too. So yeah, I think she'll fit the niche. Now the other 2 characters that I think could have potentially took in this spot could have been either Laura, which would have fit well, but I think if you have her, that kind of replaces a little bit of what Manon does, because they kind of have a similar playstyle. And then there is Colleen, which would be entirely different, and I think she would fit especially with Gil's story. So, but I'm leaning more towards Falk. I could be wrong about this, and they might add Colleen instead, but I'm going to lock my answer in a Falk on that one. Talking about the other characters like Fong, I think you have Aki, so he's not coming back. Kage, Sasuke know how it's pretty much done at this point, so I don't feel as if there's not going to return, and if it does, it's going to be with Violent Ken for Ken. And then Lucia, just know Akira was a guest character. Abigail, some people did not like him. Like, no, I really just don't think that's going to happen. And I feel as if Zaku is just going to replace with Guy, and I feel as if Guy deserves a shot more than Zaku, so that's just my honest opinion on that. Now, for my last 3 slots of characters, I think they're going to be 2 from Street Fighter 2 and 1 for Street Fighter 1. Now, the 2 for Street Fighter 2 are really simple, and it's really obvious, honestly. One of them is Fei Long. The second one is Vega. Now, why Fei Long? He has not been in a game since Street Fighter 4. He is the actual most requested Street Fighter 2 character, period. He has not been in a game for so long. He is the Bruce Lee for the Street Fighter franchise, and he's not been in a game for so long, and he's been represented in the background for like posters and stuff, and he hasn't been in the game, dude. No, he's going to be in Street Fighter 6. If he is not, I will actually be very surprised. Like, that's a huge slap in the face to people that have been wanting him for years. I know people don't want Street Fighter 2 characters, but he really does need to come back. Like, actually, no Street Fighter 7, he needs to be in this game, like, legitimately. But I think he needs to kind of make it, like, actually. Vega, it makes the most sense for him because he has no legacy. Like, for example, T-Hawk, he has William. Borok technically has Ed. I know they don't play the same, but that's kind of like he taught him, basically. That's kind of his legacy in a sense. So, Vega doesn't have anything like that. He's his own character. He's very unique in his fighting style. I think he's the only character in the entire franchise that can interact with the stage, like climbing on the wall of it. So, for him not to be in the game is a bit strange to me. And I think he should just return to Cinderella because it makes the most sense. So I feel as if that would be like the last character you would add from Street Fighter 2 would be Vega. Now, for Street Fighter 1, only 1 character can make it. And I was torn between 2. One other character besides the one I'm choosing. But I think Gen will ultimately be the Street Fighter 1 character that you choose. Why? Because again, another character that has not been played since Street Fighter 4. It's been a very long time. His fighting style is very unique and very different from any other character. And it'd be cool to have him back. The other character that I say you could add instead, technically could be Idon, but I just don't think they're going to do that because, like, sure, you already have Sagat, but they've both been in the same game before in Street Fighter 4 and Alpha, but I just don't think they're not equal anymore, I feel as if, honestly. I don't think that's the case, so I think they're just going to put him in the back of the sidelines. But they could do Adon and not Gen, but I just feel as if Gen makes the more sense here, honestly, in my opinion, of a character that you could choose from, but that's just my opinion. Now, that's all the slots that I have for the characters here, because I was going for the 5 format here of when Season 5 happens. I think we're going to get 5 characters for the rest of the season, like for each season afterwards, it's going to be 5, so we'd have 6 seasons left, so that would be 5, so that's just 30, so 30 characters. And then, you know, with the characters we already currently have, which would be 34, including Season 4, so that would be altogether, that's 64 characters. Now, I could be mistaken, and they could do just 4 characters for each of the season, like giving that Season 5, so that'd be just, I think, was that 24, so that'd be a total of 58 characters at the end of the day. But I think they're going to lean more towards the 60 route, and they could just do 2 seasons for 5 characters, and then the rest would be 4, and that'd be 60 characters, so it's going to be somewhere around that margin. I don't think they're going to just end in 50, because it just doesn't make the most sense to me, because I feel as if they want to go big with Street Fighter 6. So I'm leaning towards more 60. It's the 6th game, so why not go for the 6th number? So that's what I'm thinking in my head here, but I could be mistaken. But let me know down below if you think I'm kind of right with the number here and the character choices. How do you feel about them? Because I think what I did was spot on relatively when it comes to character choices. Now, I know Street Fighter 3 was a bit of a mixture there, because like maybe they're not going to go all in Street Fighter 3, but I feel as if that's kind of like where the most love should go to, in my personal opinion, but I could be mistaken. And I think Violent Ken was like the wildest pick, because I was like, why not Dan or something? But I feel as if Violent Ken actually kind of fits for his story, like Ken's story right now especially. But maybe I'm mistaken here, and I don't know. But either way, let me know down in the comment section if you think I'm correct, closer to the number of characters we're going to get, and just the character choices, how do you feel about them? And that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, a great night, a great noon, or whatever time zone you guys are at, man. And I will see you guys in the next video.